My fiancé Major Anthony and I have both been reborn. After a rebirth, Anthony brought his beloved Autumn and sister April home to take care of them 2 months in advance. As soon as Anthony brought back Autumn and her sister, I immediately took the initiative to contact Anthony's parents to cancel the engagement and retrieve the betrothal gift. In my last life, I trapped Anthony for a lifetime with marriage. It wasn't until death that I realized he had always been thinking of Autumn. In this life, I withdrew early, hoping that he and Autumn could love each other for a long time and have their wishes fulfilled. Later, I happily went to college, and just a few days after I left, I received news that Anthony was frantically looking for me. Chapter 1. After my rebirth, holding my college admission notice, I was overwhelmed with excitement and tears. In my previous life, I deeply loved Major Anthony, and I thought Anthony loved me just as much. So I gave up the opportunity to attend college and married him. I bore him children, honored his parents, and managed the household, only to fall ill and exhausted. It was only before my death that I discovered Anthony had long been secretly involved with his comrade's sister, Autumn. While having a family outside, Anthony disdained me for being a dull housewife, only knowing the mundane matters of daily life. She is not like Autumn, a graduate of a prestigious university, knowledgeable, gentle, and has common interests with him. Even the son I desperately gave birth to looks down on me. He married Autumn's daughter against my wishes, calling Autumn mom with every breath. Their family of 4 is blissfully happy, completely ignoring my painful struggle on the edge of suffering. Knowing I was going to die, Anthony felt relieved and began planning the wedding with Autumn in advance. On the day I took my last breath, they were taking wedding photos at the best bridal shop in the city. I swallowed my last breath unwillingly upon receiving the news. Looking back at my previous life feels like a joke. In this life, I will not allow myself to become that joke. I want to leave Anthony and walk my own path. I carefully put my admission notice into my pocket and hurried home. The sky outside is so blue, and the sun is so bright. Everything is so beautiful. The joy of rebirth is indescribable. To celebrate my new life, I bought groceries and returned to my place to prepare for the celebration. While I was preparing in the kitchen, I heard footsteps coming from outside. Soon the door was pushed open. Anthony walked in. He was carrying a large bag, and as he opened the door, he turned and warmly called out, "Come in. From now on, consider this your home." With Anthony's warm greeting, Autumn, like a willow swaying in the breeze, gently took April's hand and walked in. Chapter 2. Seeing me busy in the kitchen, Autumn shyly smiled and said, "Luna, from now on, I and April will be relying on you and Anthony." I looked at Autumn and April in surprise. In my previous life, Anthony brought Autumn back to take care of her sister 2 months later. Why has this life started so much earlier? Seeing me silent, Anthony frowned. "Autumn is talking to you? Why aren't you responding? You have no manners at all." I looked at the young Anthony. His face was indescribably handsome. That's why I devotedly loved for over 40 years, only to have it wasted for over 40 years. Anthony spoke to me with a tone and expression that were condescending. So he started to dislike me this early. Huh? I was truly blind in my past life. I tugged at the corner of my mouth. It's not that I don't want to answer Comrade Bai, but I don't know how to respond. This is your house, and I am also a guest, not the owner, just like Comrade Bai. So it's not a matter of being a bother or not. Hearing me say this, Anthony's expression became even more unpleasant. He shot me a glare and took sisters Autumn upstairs to settle them. I continued to cook calmly, and half an hour later, Anthony brought sisters Autumn downstairs after settling them. He glanced at the dishes I had already stir-fried on the table. "Is the meal ready?" "If it is, let's eat." Autumn 8-year-old sister April darted into the kitchen like a monkey. Soon April cheerfully brought out 3 bowls of rice and warmly called out to Anthony, "Anthony, it's time to eat." Anthony politely pulled out a chair for Autumn, not looking at me even once. While the 3 of them happily sat down to eat, Autumn picked up a piece of meat and placed it in Anthony's bowl, and Anthony reciprocated by serving meat to the 2 sisters. The 3 completely ignored me standing aside and began to prepare for a hearty meal. I coldly watched April stuff a large chopstick full of meat into her mouth. April and Autumn were orphans who had always followed their uncle and aunt. It is said that the uncle and aunt were not easy to get along with, and they had always delayed the sisters, making their lives very difficult. Eating meat was a very difficult thing, so when she saw a large plate of meat on the table, April's eyes lit up. Almost drooling, she quickly stuffed the meat from her bowl into her mouth and hurried to grab the meat from the plate. Just as the chopsticks were reaching out, April gaped with wide eyes. Her face flushed as she spat out the meat from her mouth. Anthony and Autumn were not as flustered as April, but the two of them also had flushed faces, mouths agape, panting like dogs in a pitiful state. Anthony covered his mouth and quickly rushed into the kitchen to find some water. Autumn was panting heavily while trying to comfort April, who was crying and had a runny nose. It was both ridiculous and disgusting. Chapter 3. After more than 10 minutes of commotion, Anthony and Autumn finally settled down. Anthony glared at me with a sullen face. Luna, why did you put so much Sichuan pepper in the meat? We don't eat spicy food. You did it on purpose, didn't you? Autumn also accused me. Luna, are you unhappy that April and I moved in? If that's the case, to avoid affecting your relationship with Luna, April and I will leave. Autumn spoke with an utterly aggrieved expression, tears welling up as she pulled April, insisting on leaving. Anthony, how could you bear to stop them? I looked at the three of them performing with a cold expression, seeing that I was standing there without any reaction. Anthony became very angry. He shouted at me loudly, Luna, what's wrong with you? Why don't you come over and apologize to Autumn and April? I slowly took over the conversation. Apologize for what? What did I do wrong? Didn't you deliberately make such spicy dishes targeting Autumn and April? Shouldn't you apologize? Anthony, isn't that a bit ridiculous? Did you tell me that Autumn and April were coming to stay? No, right? Since that's the case, what reason do I have to target them? Moreover, I love spicy food. I can't live without it. Who am I bothering by cooking the meals I enjoy? Just because you can't handle spicy food, does that mean I should stop? Everyone knows the simple truth. If you have hands and feet, you can cook what you like. Seeing me confront him like this, Anthony was suddenly left speechless. He brought Autumn and April back without consulting me. He simply assumed that I should naturally serve them like a horse or a servant. But the me now is no longer the Luna from my past life, who was entirely focused on Anthony. What he likes to eat is none of my concern. Unable to find a reason to refute me, Anthony was infuriated to the extreme. Autumn, looking like a peacemaker, said, Luna, ignorance is no excuse. This is not Luna's fault. Just be more careful next time. Are they still expecting me to be their servant, catering to their every need? I scoffed, saying, let me make it clear from the start. Anyone who wants to eat and drink should do it themselves. I am not anyone's maid or servant, and I have no habit of taking care of unrelated people. I gave Autumn no face at all, making her expression very unpleasant. Anthony also felt embarrassed and angrily took Autumn and April out to eat. I threw away all the food that the sisters and Anthony had together into the trash can. I went to the kitchen to cook again. That's right. I did it on purpose just now. Knowing that Anthony and Autumn April don't eat spicy food, I deliberately cooked a dish that was both spicy and salty to greet them. Having been reborn, I'm not here to be a punching bag. Soon Anthony and Autumn will know that I'm not someone to be trifled with. Chapter 4. After finishing a delicious and spicy meal, I began to contemplate what was to come next. Since I have been reborn, I will never live the same life as in my past. I have to go to university, and since that's the case, my engagement with Anthony is no longer valid. I have to go find Anthony's parents to cancel this engagement. Anthony's home is more than 200 kilometers away from where we live. I plan to buy a ticket to go back tomorrow and clarify things. The station is a bit far from where Anthony and I live. I walked there, and after buying the ticket, I thought about bringing some gifts for Anthony's parents, Mr. He and Mrs. Lee. So I went to the mall. I didn't expect to run into Anthony, Autumn, and April. They were picking out bed sheets and duvet covers, and the salesperson thought that Anthony and Autumn looked like they were about the same age and so well matched that they were there to choose wedding supplies, working hard to sell the auspicious red bedding. Autumn's pretty face turned red, and she did not deny it. Anthony did not deny that in the end. Autumn chose a set of pink bedding, and Anthony paid for it. Anthony did not see me and helped April buy candy. April was very happy. Anthony, you are so nice. Why would someone as good as Anthony be with someone like Luna, who resembles a fierce woman? She is not worthy of Anthony at all. Surprisingly, Anthony did not stop April from attacking me and let April speak ill of me. Over there. Autumn's gaze fell on me as I was selecting local specialties. Stopping April. Don't talk nonsense. Luna is actually quite nice. She and Anthony seem very well matched. Well matched. Anthony is good looking, has a good heart, and buys me candy. But Luna, she looks like she has a bad heart and deliberately makes things difficult for me and my sister. Anthony cleared his throat. What happened at noon was Luna's fault, and I apologize on her behalf. I will talk to her when I get back. This won't happen again. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Autumn added curiously in my direction. I'm really curious how Anthony and Comrade got together. How else can we be together? It's a childhood engagement arranged by our parents. Anthony let out a sigh, looking utterly helpless. Aw, so it's a childhood engagement? I thought you were in a love match. No, I don't have a common language with Luna. If I wanted a love match, I wouldn't choose someone with her personality. Hearing Anthony and Autumn talk about me like that, I surprisingly didn't feel angry. I just chuckled a few times in my heart. Anthony is right. My engagement with Anthony was indeed arranged by our parents. My father and Anthony's father, Mr. He were comrades in arms, and their relationship is very close and strong. My mother and Anthony's mother, Mrs. Lee, are also friends. When they got married, they once said that if they had a boy and a girl, they would become husband and wife. If they had 2 boys, they would be brothers. And if they had 2 girls, they would be sisters. So, since my birth, Anthony and I have been betrothed. My parents and Anthony's parents exchanged engagement tokens. My family gave Anthony a jade pendant, while Anthony's family gave me a jade bracelet. Since I am canceling the engagement, I naturally have to return the jade bracelet in person. And I also need to get back the jade pendant my family gave to Anthony. Since I need to clearly cut ties with Anthony, I have to consider moving out of Anthony's home. My father died heroically on a mission, and my mother, heartbroken, followed him a few months later. I became an orphan without parents, and He and Mrs. Lee brought me back to live in his home. I am very grateful for the care that He and Mrs. Lee have given me. However, during the more than 10 years I lived in his home, I didn't spend a single cent of his money, because I am the child of a martyr. I receive subsidies, which means I have money. After leaving Anthony, I don't have to worry about my life at all. The first thing I need to do now is cancel the engagement. I have already bought the train ticket. I will go back tomorrow morning to discuss the cancellation of the engagement with He and Mrs. Lee. Anthony, in my past life, I suffered on my own. In this life, I will take the initiative to let go. Chapter 5. In the evening, I had wontons outside, and when I returned to my place, I could hear laughter and joy from afar. Pushing open the door, I saw Anthony and Autumn working together in the kitchen. The two stood side by side, beaming with smiles, while Autumn playfully hit Anthony with her hand from time to time. Anthony gazed at Autumn with tenderness and smiled. In this life and the last, I have never seen Anthony cook. He has always been someone who is served. Even when I feel unwell or have a stomach ache, he never takes the initiative to cook. Is love and indifference really that obvious? Hearing the sound of me closing the door, the two turned to look, and Anthony instinctively moved a little away from Autumn. You're back. The food will be ready soon. Wash your hands and get ready to eat. I ignored Anthony and forced a smile as I carried the local specialties back to my room. As I pushed open the door, I was stunned by the mess in the room. My clothes and quilt were thrown messily on the floor, with footprints on the quilt and stains all over the clothes. The bedside cabinet was turned upside down. Books and pens were rolling everywhere. What angers me the most is that several photos of me and my parents were thrown on the ground and torn with several rips. The instigator April was grinning at me with a toothy smile, and that provocative, indifferent expression filled me with rage. Who let you into my room? Is this your room? Shameless. This is clearly Anthony's home. You have no shame living in Anthony's house. Even Anthony must be sick of you, April said, making a move to tear up the photo of my parents that she was holding. I shouted sternly, "Put it down. Put it down right now." April didn't regard me at all and directly tore a hole in my parents' photo. I rushed over in a fit of rage. "Give it to me. I warn you not to touch my photo." April made a face at me and let out a howl. The voice pierced through the clouds. Heart-wrenching. Someone was hit. Luna. Someone was hit. It hurts so much. Screaming, she lunged at me, tearing and biting. The little person actually has the strength of an ox. I never expected April to suddenly go crazy. Her bite left my hand bleeding profusely. In pain, I pushed her away forcefully, and April fell heavily to the ground. The screams grew louder. Hearing April's screams, both Anthony and Autumn rushed over. Seeing April lying on the ground screaming, Anthony was filled with rage. "What did you do, Luna? Why did you treat April this way? She's just a child." "Over there." Autumn rushed over to help April, who was crying and covered in blood. My teeth were knocked out by Luna. Watching April spit out blood, Anthony was worried sick, yelling at me, cursing me for being cruel, able to harm even a child. I ignored Anthony's shouting, simply picking up the torn photo of my parents and slowly wiping it in my hands. Over there, Autumn held April, crying as if the rain was beating against the pear blossoms. "I only have one younger sister, and she is still so small. Her teeth have been knocked out. Luna, aren't you being too cruel? If you're unhappy about us moving in, you could just say it directly. Is it really necessary to resort to such viciousness against an 8-year-old child?" Anthony comforted Autumn while looking at me with disgust. "Luna, I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. You have disappointed me too much. I tell you, you must apologize to April and seek her forgiveness. Otherwise, what will you do?" I raised my bloodied hand and looked at Anthony. "Are you blind or just heartless? Can't you see what my room looks like after being ransacked?" Anthony was momentarily stunned when he saw my bleeding hand. April is just a child. It's natural for children to act out. It can be tidied up afterwards. I coldly laughed. "Then tell me, what should I do about this? What am I supposed to do with the only photo my parents left behind?" He was still defending April. She didn't do it on purpose. April knows nothing. She just accidentally tore it. You don't need to resort to violence against her. Anthony, you can't really believe I knocked out April's teeth, can you? If that's the case, let's go to the hospital and get an examination to see if April lost her teeth and bled because of me, or if her so-called bleeding and losing teeth has another explanation. I pierced through April and Autumn, who both fell silent and did not complain. Anthony also fell silent. He grew up with me and knows what kind of person I am. The room fell into silence as I coldly looked at April and Autumn. "Let's go. We're going to the hospital to get checked for injuries." I insisted on going to get checked for injuries, and Autumn panicked. "No need. We don't need your apology. Let's just leave it at that." "Leave it at that? You mean I just let your sister bite me and that's it? If it were you who got bitten by me, would you just let it go? Not to mention my room was turned upside down. Who do I turn to for my lost things? I can tell you, there is money in my room." Autumn trembled with anger. Are you suspecting us of being thieves? Luna, how can you bully people like this?" Autumn, with tears in her eyes, made Anthony overflow with sympathy. Frowning at me, "Luna, that's enough. Being so aggressive is too much." I let out a cold laugh, yanked open April's shirt, and took out a few Great Unity from her pocket. "What is this? Please don't tell me this is your money. Do you look like a rich person?" Chapter 6. Seeing the few Great Unity notes I pulled out, Anthony and Autumn April were both stunned. The Bai sisters all lamented their poverty, saying they were going to starve. How could there be Great Unity? This money, goes without saying, is stolen from me. Being accused of stealing money in front of Anthony, Autumn's face lost all color, and in front of me, she slapped April hard across the face. "Who told you to steal money? Who told you not to study properly? Haven't I taught you? Even if we starve to death, we will never take a penny from others." "What ambition! not taking a single cent but can take dozens from others. Comrade by teaches his sister well. Autumn was left embarrassed by my words, crying in April's arms as she left. Anthony reluctantly chased after her. I tidied up the messy room and lay down on the bed in my clothes. Just endure a little longer. Once I cancel the engagement, I will move out. Anthony only managed to coax the By family sisters back late at night. He came back and knocked on my door. Luna, I brought you some disinfectant. Let me help you clean your wound. He chased after the By family sisters for 4 or 5 hours before returning. If my wound was going to get infected, it would have by now. I ignored him as he covered his head with the blanket. After a while, he continued knocking on the door. I know you're not asleep. Can we talk? I knew what he wanted to discuss. It was just to make me more magnanimous and speak well for By sisters. How could someone who has lived a lifetime like me possibly be fooled again? After all, I know this sister's character too well. In my past life, after I married Anthony, these two sisters came into our lives. Autumn went to the capital for university. April has always been by my side. I took care of her as if she were my own younger sister. They say that the human heart is made of flesh, and I thought that my kindness towards April would make her treat me well in return. But the result is not like this. April is lazy and likes to lie. As long as Anthony comes back from the army, or Autumn returns from university, she will accuse and slander me. She said I abused her, didn't cook for her, didn't do her laundry, and often hit her. In my last life, I thought she was just young and talking nonsense because no one taught her. It wasn't until I lived a whole life that I understood. You can tell a person's nature at 3 years old. Some people are born bad seeds. The By family sisters' wickedness is ingrained in their bones. I don't want to provoke them, nor have I thought about making things difficult or retaliating against them. But that doesn't mean I will passively accept everything. If the By family sisters behave themselves and stay out of trouble, I will leave after the divorce, allowing Autumn and Anthony to be together. If they are not honest, then they cannot blame me. I have endured for a lifetime, and I will never endure again in this life. If anyone wants to scheme against me, I will definitely repay them 1,000-fold. The next morning, the By family sisters were not there. Anthony bought breakfast, and he warmly invited me to sit down and eat. I sat down silently and picked up a bun. Taking a bite, Anthony kept his gaze on me, and when he saw my indifferent attitude, he didn't take the initiative to speak to me. He spoke first. Does your hand still hurt? I scoffed. Why don't you let someone bite it and see for yourself? Seeing my attitude was completely different from before, Anthony couldn't take it anymore. Well, Luna, I just felt sorry for the Autumn sisters. Their family is gone, and they've been mistreated by their uncle and aunt. I couldn't stand by and wanted to help them. There are many people in need of help. Why the Autumn sisters and not someone else? Anthony was stumped by my question, and his expression turned ugly. He forcibly held back, remaining silent for a moment before saying, "If you're worried about me, we can get our marriage certificate first." His words made me look up at Anthony. Anthony, are you sure you want to marry me? No regrets? Anthony was taken aback by my question, and after a while, he said, "It's because we were betrothed since childhood. So it's because of our childhood betrothal that you feel obligated to marry me." I interrupted him. Nowadays, free love is in vogue. The so-called engagement we made is feudal superstition. You don't have to force yourself to keep your promise. I put it so bluntly to By that I thought Anthony would clearly understand my intention and bring up the topic of canceling the engagement. In this way, we can notify Mr. He and Mrs. Lee as agreed, but Anthony didn't know what was going on. Instead of following my lead, he said very seriously, "Luna, you are my wife, and this matter will not change. It will be this way for a lifetime." Hearing Anthony's words made me want to laugh. He had already brought his beloved sister into the house. He could still lie to me with his eyes wide open. It's no wonder I was deceived in my past life. Who told me to be so foolish and blind to the situation? I don't understand By Anthony why I should continue to marry him. Just thinking about how I was on the brink of death in my past life while he was busy taking wedding photos with Autumn makes me hate him. Since he wants to pretend, then let him keep pretending. Anyway, I won't waste my time with him anymore. I changed the subject. I'm planning to go back and see Mr. He and Mrs. Lee. Oh, really? I've been a bit busy lately, so I don't have time to accompany you. You don't need to accompany me. I've already bought my ticket, and I'm leaving today. Anthony looked at me in shock, and after a while, he said, I'll drive you to the station. In the end, Anthony didn't take me to the station. He was called away by Autumn, who was crying. I felt no emotions as I went to the bus station. A few hours later, I was sitting in Anthony's home's living room, holding the gift I had specially bought. Chapter 7. When I took the initiative to propose ending my relationship with Anthony, Mr. He and Mrs. Lee were both very surprised. Why? Did Anthony bully you? No, it's just that I don't want to get married so soon. I want to go to university. I want to learn knowledge. And I want to serve my country, to be a useful person like my dad. Mr. He and Mrs. Lee exchanged a glance. They did not believe my words. The things Anthony did were not unknown to Mr. He and Mrs. Lee. Mr. He angrily said, Is it because of that girl named Autumn? Luna, you can rest assured. You are the bride we have chosen. Only you can enter our He's home. No, Mr. He, it's just my reason. I'm very sorry. I can't fulfill the engagement with Anthony. Please agree to my request. Seeing my resolute attitude, Mr. He and Mrs. Lee had no choice but to agree to the cancellation of the engagement. I took out the engagement bracelet they originally gave to my family to return. Mrs. Lee also returned the jade pendant from my family to me. Mr. He and Mrs. Lee told me that they will always be my support. I am very grateful to Mr. He and Mrs. Lee. It seems that in my past life, Anthony's promise to marry me was likely due to the pressure from Mr. He and Mrs. Lee. Fortunately, I have set things right so that nothing like this will happen again. With the matter of the engagement cancellation settled, I stayed at his home for another week before returning. The return bus was delayed, and I didn't get back to my place until 11 o'clock at night. The room was dark, and I thought to myself that I should try not to disturb anyone in the dead of night. So I entered quietly and tiptoed upstairs to prepare to return to my room. Who would have thought that when I reached the door of my room, I would hear strange sounds coming from inside? That sound was clearly a woman's moan. Wasn't this a ghostly encounter? How could there be a woman's moan coming from my room? I pushed the door open and turned on the light, and the scene inside came into view. On my bed, Autumn and Anthony were entwined in each other's arms, reluctant to part. Hearing the sound of the door opening along with the bright lights, Anthony was startled and sat up suddenly. He saw me standing at the door, his eyes wide. Luna? You. He didn't finish his sentence and glanced again at Autumn in his arms. Anthony was so scared that he pushed Autumn away, and Autumn, caught off guard, fell to the floor from the bed. Anthony didn't even have time to care about Autumn, but instead asked repeatedly, What's going on? How did you end up in Luna's room? I looked at them coldly. You should be asking yourselves that question, right? If you want to do that kind of thing, at least do it in your own room. Why come to mine? Do you think it's more exciting this way? As my words fell, tears rolled down the ground. Autumn, it's not like that. It's not like that. Anthony also anxiously explained, Luna, it's not what you think. The blanket in my room got wet from April playing with water, and I couldn't sleep. I thought since you weren't home, I would come to your room to sleep. I was so drowsy that I thought I was dreaming. Is that so? Then how did she end up in my room? It can't be that the blanket in your room also got wet by your sister, and you had nowhere to sleep, so you came to my room to make do, right? Looking at my sarcastic smile, Autumn covered her face and said, I accidentally walked into the wrong room while getting up at night. I naturally didn't believe Autumn's explanation, and I didn't know if Anthony believed it either. I looked at the two of them, who were almost undressed, and chuckled. Since it has come to this, why don't you two just go get a marriage certificate? These two are so in love. My support is like a pillow sent to someone who is already sleepy. I thought Anthony would readily agree, but he surprised me once again. This is just a misunderstanding. We didn't do anything. Luna, you have to believe me. I will marry no one but you. You are my only wife. Anthony. Autumn initially, when she heard me say this, A look of joy flashed across her face. But after hearing Anthony's rejection, her face turned pale and desolate. You can't insult me like this. It's just that I walked into the wrong room. I don't want to live anymore. She cried and struggled to run outside. And I didn't stop her. I kindly opened the door. I want to see if this shameless woman is really willing to seek death. Of course, Autumn was reluctant. She thought I would stop her. Or at the very least, Anthony would stop her. Who would have thought Anthony remained still in bed? And I also looked on as if watching a play, making Autumn's suicide performance impossible to carry out. When she was in a dilemma, April appeared. She tightly embraced Autumn, who was about to jump off the building, and the two sisters cried like they were heartbroken. I coldly watched the scene. Had I known that Autumn and Anthony would end up together, I shouldn't have come back today. I should have delayed for another couple of days. Sigh. What terrible luck. Chapter 8. After such an incident, Autumn fell ill. She lay in bed, unable to get up. She didn't even go to the hospital. She just lay in her room like that. I don't know what scheme she is plotting, but it has nothing to do with me. I have already divorced Anthony and have no relationship with Anthony anymore. It's not suitable to live here. I plan to pack up and move out. While I was packing my things in the room, I heard April crying and talking to Anthony downstairs. Sister refuses to eat. She said it's better to let her die. What should I do? Brother Anthony? She is my only relative. She absolutely cannot have anything happen to her, or I won't be able to live. Naturally, Anthony was worried about his beloved and followed April into the next room to persuade her. After a while, I heard Autumn's hoarse cries coming from the next room. How can I live like this? I can't go on. Just let me die. Anthony's comfort did not calm Autumn. Instead, she began to seek death again. I was tidying up while watching the show. Not knowing what Anthony said to Autumn, the cries finally disappeared. I suppose it must be that Anthony agreed to marry Autumn. If wishes are fulfilled, there's no need to seek death. I continued to pack my things when Anthony came to knock on the door. I coldly asked, "What's the matter?" "Luna, let's talk." "Talk about what?" I looked at Anthony with sarcasm. Anthony met my gaze and awkwardly looked away. "Luna, don't look at me like that. Nothing happened between me and Autumn. You shared a bed, and nothing happened? We didn't go all the way. Luna, this isn't our fault. So it's my fault?" I scoffed. "Of course it's not your fault. I just wanted to tell you that I never intended to betray you. What happened last night was just an accidental mistake. And thankfully you came back." "Heh, I admit I came back to interrupt you guys. It's all my fault." "Luna, what are you talking about? Autumn and I are not what you think." "Then what are you two doing? Lying together in the dark? Are you chatting about the future? You don't need to take off your clothes for that." Anthony blushed as I shot back at him. I told you I was dreaming, right? I thought it was you. So I just let myself go." I spat. "Don't disgust me." Anthony looked as if he had been insulted. "Everything I said is true. If I lied, may lightning strike me." I was indifferent to his oath. I no longer believed in lightning striking me. If swearing was useful, I wouldn't have been deceived by him in my past life. In my past life, the Anthony who betrayed our marriage and deceived me wouldn't have thrived and married the woman he longed for. Autumn. After I died, I was at a loss for words as I pressed Anthony to explain. "You don't need to explain your relationship with her to me. I'm not interested. You are my fiancé. If you're not interested, who would be?" "Heh." I returned Anthony a cold smile, not wanting to get entangled with him. "So what do you want to say to me? Just state your purpose directly." "It's like this. Autumn, she is innocent. She feels guilty about what happened last night and just wants to die. May I ask, has she died?" I asked coldly. Anthony looked at me in shock, and after a while, he stammered, "You. Luna, how can you be so cold-blooded?" Cold-blooded? The ones who truly want to die wouldn't announce it so dramatically. Only those who are putting on a show would do that. My words left Anthony speechless. He stared at me and said, "Luna, you seem like a completely different person. Is that so? Aren't you the one who has changed?" "I haven't changed. I feel the same about you as before." I coldly laughed again. realizing that my expression was no longer one of admiration for him, but rather one of impatience. Anthony also felt that this back and forth was pointless, so he got straight to the point. Autumn felt ashamed and wished she could die. I persuaded her for quite a while before she abandoned the thought of dying. She said she couldn't bear to stay here any longer and wanted to leave. But as a girl, where could she go with her sister? I felt sorry for her and thought of a compromise. I didn't say a word, just looked at Anthony. Seeing that I responded, Anthony paused for a moment before saying, "We are about to get married. And after the marriage, you won't need to go to university. Why not give your university spot to Autumn?" After listening to Anthony, I chuckled softly and said, "Is this your idea or did Autumn bring it up?" Is that what I mean? Oh really? Why should I agree to you? I coldly looked at Anthony and retorted, "On what basis do you think you can make decisions for me? Who do you think you are? Aren't we engaged? Your matters are my matters. Don't say that we aren't married yet. Even if we were, my matters are not for you to decide. You are the one who made the mistake. So why should I pay for your error? Moreover, who knows if that was even your mistake?" I coldly reminded him, word by word, "Perhaps this is a decision you two agreed upon, just to scheme against me, isn't it?" Anthony jumped up in anger. "How can you say that about me? I am your fiancé. It's not a cancellation of engagement." Chapter 9. Anthony looked at my nonchalant attitude in shock. "What do you mean? You want to cancel our engagement? Why? Why don't you understand? You've brought other women home to take care of, and you've slept in the same bed with them. Since you love each other so much, just be together. I'll step aside to make way for you both." Anthony vehemently denied his relationship with Autumn. "What nonsense are you talking about? I am not with her as you think. I told you, my wife can only be you, and it will never be anyone else." I watched Anthony like I was watching a clown perform, his face turning red with anger. "Luna, you used to listen to me so well. Whatever I said was what it was. Why aren't you thinking of me this time? How could he even bring up the past, knowing how much I loved him, and still shamelessly hurt me like this? How could he be so despicable? The old me was foolish and hopeless, but the current me doesn't want to be that foolish anymore. I don't want to listen to Anthony ramble on anymore. You want me to give up my university spot to avoid discussing Autumn's situation. You should let Autumn give up on this. What nonsense. If you want to go to university, you should earn it through your own efforts, not covet someone else's spot, wanting to swap places without shame." I raised my voice to say this, and I believe that the neighbors, Autumn and April, are also listening closely. It's laughable. They made a mistake themselves and still expect me to compensate, even coveting my university spot. Who gave them the face and the courage? I pushed Anthony out and continued to organize my things. I suddenly thought of something. Anthony and Autumn are so familiar with the idea of replacing me at school. Could it be that in the last life Autumn also secretly took my place at university because I couldn't go to school after marrying Anthony? Why would someone so unrelated to me have such thoughts? Is it possible that Anthony is in cahoots with her? They have long been eyeing my university spot, so they plotted against me? This thought sends chills down my spine. If that's the case, then I was truly wronged in my past life, wasn't I? I must leave immediately and never have anything to do with them again. I was carrying the things I had packed to leave, but I was stopped by Anthony. Anthony wouldn't allow me to move out. He blocked my way at the door, saying, "Luna, where are you going?" "I'm moving out." "I won't allow you to move out. It's not up to you right now. I'm moving out." "Luna, are you worried because of Autumn? I really have nothing with her. I know you've been wronged. I will find a place to move Autumn away and cut off all contact with her." Anthony's words surprised me. What exactly is he trying to do? Did a single university spot really make him work himself to the bone like this? I can't see through Anthony, insisting on leaving. Anthony threatened me, "You are my unwed wife. Everyone knows it. Who would dare take you in if you move out? This is damaging a military marriage, and you could go to jail. Do you know that?" 15. Anthony is right. He is now a major, and everyone knows about my relationship with him. If things get noisy, Surely no one would dare take me in. I returned to the house, swallowing my anger and frustration. Just hold on a little longer. In about 10 days I will be able to go to school and leave. After that, I will never come back. I haven't been able to move out as I wished, and I feel very unsettled. I don't know why I suddenly thought of a terrible guess. That this pair of scoundrels has been fixated on my university spot. Then they will definitely go to great lengths to scheme against me, not letting me move away just to plot against me. I have to be careful and prepared. I secretly have my guard up. Anthony has left on a mission. Without Anthony around, Autumn came to negotiate with me personally. The cards have already been laid on the table, and Autumn is no longer pretending. Straight to the point. She said to me, "Luna, you know I was almost violated by Anthony that day. I don't want your fiancé to go to jail, so you'd better give up your university spot." I scoffed. "You're speaking too softly. Say it louder." "I'm not joking with you. I'm being serious. You should know how big the impact of this matter is. If I report it, Anthony will be arrested for rape, and his life will be over. Since you love him so much, are you really willing to watch him go to jail? Then you might as well report it to the police. Whether it's rape or prostitution, the police will come to their own conclusion." I looked at Autumn with a half smile. "I'm just reminding you. Don't get yourself into trouble. The police are not Anthony. They won't show mercy, and they won't be fooled by your tricks. If it turns out to be a prostitution bust, it will be a laughingstock. You." "Luna, are you sure you want to confront me like this?" Autumn blushed deeply as I exposed her thoughts, and she softened her tone. "I have no intention of competing with you for Anthony, and I'm not afraid to tell you that Anthony likes me in his heart. As long as I beckon him with my finger, he will abandon you to be with me. Then why don't you just beckon him with your finger? Why come to me? I don't like you." "No. Why are you so difficult to talk to? I already said I won't compete with you for Anthony. I don't want much. You and Anthony are about to get married, and you won't be going to university. What's wrong with giving me your spot? Isn't this a win-win situation? Since you think marrying Anthony is so great, then go marry him. Why are you going crazy looking for me? I'm not your parents. I won't indulge you. If you want my spot, give up that thought." I warned Autumn word by word, "Call the police and catch Anthony. The police station is 500 meters to the left when you go out. I'll be waiting for your good news." On my side, nothing worked, and Autumn reluctantly left. I know they won't give up so easily. The sisters continued to live under the same roof as me. Knowing their nature, I remained secretly vigilant, fearing that the sisters, Autumn and her sibling, would play tricks. The university admission notice was sewn into my clothes, and the money was well hidden. I will never let Autumn and Anthony find any opportunity to break through. Time flies quickly. Anthony has returned from his mission. After Anthony returned from his mission, he found a house for Autumn. She stubbornly refused to move, continuing to feign illness. She insists on staying no matter what. This must be what they mean by "it's easy to invite a spirit but hard to send it away." Could it be that the two of them are deliberately weaving a web of confusion to mislead me? Regardless, it has nothing to do with me. My time to leave is drawing closer. Every day, Anthony is called by Autumn to discuss who knows what. Every time I come out of a conversation with Autumn, he has a gloomy face. I can feel that he is under a lot of pressure. He must be facing some trouble. I think their biggest trouble right now is wanting my university spot. I remain unchanged in the face of all changes. Seeing me so calm, Anthony believes I have abandoned the thought of leaving. His attitude towards me suddenly changed. Anthony is being extra nice to me. He even takes the initiative to buy my favorite sweets, suggests going for walks and chatting, and says he will accompany me to watch movies. This was something I could only dream of in the past. But now I refuse it all. Who knows what Anthony will design for Autumn? I will never be easily deceived. I stand firm here. Autumn was sent to the hospital several times due to illness, all of which were arranged by Anthony. Living in agony, yet no cause can be found. After a round of turmoil, I have returned. I can see Anthony's frustration. He couldn't deceive me into giving him the university spot for the woman he loves. He got anxious. I know Anthony and Autumn are both at a loss. I know the two of them must be discussing ways to deal with this and want to scheme against me again. Sure enough, Anthony actively came to me to vent. She doesn't want to move out. What should we do now? Of course. Just let it be. What does that have to do with me? If I had known it would be like this, I shouldn't have sympathized with her. Anthony sighed and still wouldn't give up. How about it? Luna, you just give your university spot to her? That way she should move out. Chapter 10. Sure enough, he was still thinking about my university spot. With words said to this extent, I couldn't refuse any longer. If I refuse again, something is bound to happen. Right now, I just want stability and have no energy to deal with them. I relented. Let me think about it. As I let go, Anthony's brow relaxed, and he held my hand with a heartfelt promise. Luna, I will treat you well. Don't worry. I will take care of you for a lifetime. From now on, you just stay at home and raise the children. I will support you all your life. I was disgusted to death by his grip on my hand. Treating me well means making me a beast of burden. A servant for life? Treating me well means not waiting for me to take my last breath before rushing to marry Autumn? I have once again seen through Anthony's true colors. He is as shameless and despicable as Autumn. I know I cannot compete with them. I really don't want to continue entangled with this pair of dog men and women. Getting bitten by a dog would be troublesome. I could catch rabies, and I can't bite back. I decided to leave early, to stabilize Anthony. I gave him a definite answer: after we get married, I will give the spot to Autumn. Anthony thought I was using this to coerce him into marriage, and he agreed to hold the wedding early. I watched him busily with cold eyes, knowing that the wedding would not take place. After all, in my previous life, Anthony delayed the wedding during this period due to taking on a mission. If nothing unexpected happens, this life should be like this as well. 2 days passed just like that, and Anthony was off on another mission. Before leaving, he specifically sought me out to talk. Luna, the person I like is you, and I have already submitted the marriage application. Worried that I wouldn't believe him, Anthony even showed me the marriage application. Don't cause me any trouble. Just stay at home and wait. When I return from my mission, we will get married. I pretended to be surprised and agreed. Let me submit the marriage application. You focus on your mission. Anthony thought I didn't believe he would take the initiative to submit the marriage application, so he readily handed it over to me. Of course, I wouldn't go to submit the marriage report. I quickly tore it up and threw it into the stinky ditch as soon as I went out. Anthony after the mission. I quickly went to the station to buy a train ticket. On the way back, Autumn looked at me with a cold smile. When are you going to give up your university spot for me? I also smiled coldly. What are you in such a hurry for? Autumn gritted her teeth. How can I not be in a hurry? School is starting soon. I need to get proof, handle the paperwork, and there are many things to do. I'm afraid I won't make it in time. So why don't you just give it to me now? Dream on. I refused. Autumn, just wait. When Anthony comes back from his mission, I will give it to you. Autumn is certainly not an easy character. She was visibly upset. She was so anxious that it was driving her mad. That night, I woke up with a stomach ache and passed by the rooms of the two sisters. Noticing their lights were still on, what could they possibly be planning at such a late hour? As the saying goes, one must always be wary of others. I have no intention of harming anyone. Yet I still worry about being harmed, so I quietly crept over to listen at the corner. And indeed, I overheard some shocking content. Autumn angrily scolded April. Didn't you say she would readily give up her spot for me? Why is nothing going as you said? How would I know? Clearly, in the last life, she actively gave up the opportunity to go to university to marry Anthony. And Anthony didn't put in any effort to give the spot to you. In this life, she is completely unyielding. It's truly bizarre. I was taken aback. April is also reborn? Autumn fell silent for a moment. Have you noticed that Luna has changed a lot? April replied, I have noticed. In the last life, she was like an old servant, diligently catering to us and caring for us in every possible way. Anthony said whatever he wanted, but this time she is indifferent to us and very cold towards Anthony as well. April said, raising her voice suddenly, Could it be that she has also been reborn? Is that possible? April retorted. It must be so. Otherwise, it cannot explain Luna's change. So what do we do now? If Luna has been reborn, she must remember what happened in her past life. She definitely won't be willing to give up her university spot. So I think it's unlikely for me to get it. Autumn lowered her voice and said viciously, we must find a way to force her to give me her spot. Chapter 11. Autumn's voice was filled with resentment and determination. I shivered and quietly returned to my room. I can't sleep through this night. To prevent any unforeseen circumstances, it's better for me to leave early. There's no time like the present. I think I'll leave tomorrow. When I woke up in the morning, my eyelid kept twitching. They say the left eye twitches for wealth and the right eye for disaster. My right eye is twitching nonstop, and I have a feeling something bad is going to happen. To avoid any accidents, I specially called upon the neighbors from the big courtyard next door to help me pack my things. I called a few neighbors from next door to help me move my things. Autumn and April never imagined I would end up in this situation. I saw 5 or 6 people suddenly rush into the house to help move my things. Autumn was stunned. What is going on? Why are you moving things? Who are you? What does it have to do with you? I directly confronted Aunt Zhong, who I had called to help with the move. I'm just worried about Luna. Worried? You must be hoping she leaves, right? A single woman shamelessly living in her fiancé's house. Anyone can see what kind of scheme you're up to. Grandma Wu spoke in a loud and rough manner, showing no mercy, and Autumn was so angry her face turned pale. Yet she didn't utter a word of rebuttal. As I loaded my last belongings into the car, I saw the restraint in the eyes of the 2 sisters. I knew they couldn't sit still, and I was certain their scheme would be executed on this very last day. My luggage has all been moved out, and I'm getting in the car to leave. From upstairs came April's voice, and sister, you dropped something. It's your parents' photo, found under the bed. I place great importance on my parents' belongings. Autumn and April know my Achilles heel. They know I would never be able to part with my parents' photos. I will definitely go upstairs to get them. I know that what awaits me upstairs is bound to be a bloodbath. Since they are so eager, I might as well go along with it and fulfill their wishes. I replied, I will come to get it. Upstairs. Autumn and April both wore tense expressions. Sister, will she come to get it? April asked worriedly in a low voice. She definitely will. I heard she has been carefully preserving her parents' belongings, treating them like treasures. The day you tore her parents' photo, she was so furious. She will certainly not give up. Then let's get ready. When she comes upstairs, we act. Just be gentle when you strike. Don't really make me crippled. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. The 2 were talking when hurried footsteps came from below. She really came. The sisters exchanged a glance, a look of triumph flashing across their faces as they fixed their gaze on the staircase. The footsteps lingered at the staircase, but no one came up. Right after, Luna's voice rang out, I won't come up. Just throw it down to me. If she doesn't come up, how can they proceed? Hearing this, Autumn and April became anxious. With April raising her voice, I'm waiting at the staircase for you. Hurry up and come get it. The people below are hesitating. They must be doubting them. Autumn was anxious. Time waits for no one. If Luna realized this was a conspiracy, she definitely wouldn't come up, and their plan would fall apart. No, she had to act faster. Thinking this, she saw someone poking their head out below. Autumn couldn't see the person clearly. She only saw that it was someone wearing red. Luna was indeed wearing red today. It was definitely Luna. After confirming, Autumn forcefully pushed April down. She shouted, Luna, what are you doing? Why are you pushing my sister? Help! My sister has been. Luna pushed down the stairs. Someone come save her. Accompanying Autumn's cries for help was April's scream. She was pushed down from the upstairs by Autumn and fell with a thud. Downstairs lay a steel rebar for clothes, and when April fell, the rebar pierced through her. Blood sprayed everywhere, and the screams were utterly horrifying. Hearing the screams and cries for help, people outside rushed in. On the 2nd floor, Autumn was anxiously running down, cursing as she went. Luna, you heartless creature. If anything happens to my sister, I won't let you off. As soon as she finished speaking, she rushed downstairs, stunned by the scene before her. April! April! She looked at April below, wide-eyed and speechless. April was in so much pain that she had already fainted, blood spraying everywhere. Autumn gritted her teeth and continued to scream, "It's all Luna's doing. Everyone, please bear witness." A cold laugh came from the doorway. "What have I done?" Autumn looked up, her eyes filled with shock. Luna stood at the door and did not come in, so the person who just appeared at the stairs was not Luna at all. She turned her head and saw Sisterly, who was wearing Luna's clothes, frozen in shock and trembling. "Ah!" Autumn let out a piercing and desperate scream. Chapter 12. When April was sent to the hospital, she was completely out of breath. Her lower body was pierced by rebar, coming straight out of her abdomen. It is said that her uterus was punctured, and the doctors spent a whole day and night to save her. The person is still relying on a respirator to maintain life. Whether they can survive is an unknown. Autumn collapsed on the ground. At first, she wanted to frame me until I had sufficient witnesses and evidence to prove that I had never even entered the house. Autumn's plan fell through. April was in a coma. She is the only eyewitness, and what exactly happened can only be determined by her. At first, she wanted to slander me, but I had an alibi. Autumn had no choice but to say that she had seen it wrong. The police became suspicious of her inconsistent statements, but she is April's only relative and had no motive to harm April. All of this has to wait until April wakes up to investigate. Autumn was able to return to her place. By now, she knows that obtaining my university spot is hopeless. Autumn refused to accept such failure. She had to seize one of them. Reborn April told her that Anthony later rose to a high position and thrived. Since that's the case, she must hold on tightly to Anthony. She cannot lose. She must win. On the evening a week later, Anthony returned from his mission. He parked the car at the door and quickly entered the house. While walking, he called out Luna's name. "Luna! Luna! I'm back!" Luna did not answer him. Anthony quickly walked upstairs. The lights were on in the house, so it was clear that someone was there. He thought Luna was upstairs, but just as he turned the corner and rushed up the stairs, Autumn came out from inside, completely naked, and hugged Anthony. Anthony hadn't even reacted yet when several more people entered the house. He and Autumn were caught in the act like this, with so many people blocking him, and Autumn naked and embracing. Anthony was completely stunned. In a panic, he frantically searched for Luna. "Luna, where are you? Luna, come out quickly!" Autumn coldly told him, "No need to shout. Luna has gone to university. She left several days ago." "What? Why did she leave? Wasn't she supposed to marry me? We already filed our marriage report." Anthony couldn't believe it. He wanted to find Luna, but was firmly held back by Autumn. "You bullied me. You must give me an explanation." "I didn't touch you. Why should I give you an explanation?" Anthony refused to admit it, but it was beyond his control. Caught in the act, Autumn and Anthony were seen by Autumn's uncle and aunt, along with various relatives. This is a conspiracy that has long been planned, with so many people watching the scandal. Anthony cannot clear his name even if he jumps into the Yellow River. He just returned from a mission and was promoted to colonel for his achievements. Autumn and her uncle, aunt, and a host of relatives all threatened Anthony in unison, demanding that Anthony marry Autumn, or they would report Anthony for his improper conduct. Anthony did not want to end his career this way. He remembered that in his previous life, he was clearly in a position of great prestige. He was unwilling to accept this as the end. For the sake of his future, Anthony had no other choice. He chose to make peace and marry Autumn. The wedding of the two was very rushed, and the next day they went to file for a marriage certificate and became a family. Anthony felt suffocated. He had never thought of marrying Autumn. Clearly, in his past life, his wife had always been Luna. Why has it changed to Autumn in this life? He couldn't understand White Eye. Anthony had never thought of marrying Autumn. He helped Autumn's sister because Autumn's brother had helped him. He owed Autumn's brother a favor. In his past life, he heard Autumn say that after her brother died, they lived terribly at home, suffering under the neglect of their uncle and aunt. So when he was reborn, He wanted to save Autumn from the depths of despair as soon as possible. Anthony clearly remembers by helping Autumn without any accidents in his last life. In his previous life, Luna loved him dearly and gave up her chance to go to university for him. He transferred Luna's university spot to Autumn. After graduating from university, Autumn was assigned to the military district as his secretary. Autumn meticulously took care of his life, and they got along well. So in this life, his first thought upon being reborn was to save Autumn. Let Autumn have a good life ahead of time. Why do good intentions lead to bad outcomes? And why does everything become different from the last life? He always thought this life would end up the same way, but he never expected everything to take an unexpected turn. Luna left him, and the caring flower from his past, Autumn, also became a different person. She became so disgusting, so snobbish, that it made people feel repulsed. I distanced myself from a bunch of rotten people and went to Beijing for school. When I left, I signed away my household registration. Although Mr. He and Mrs. Lee said they were my family and my strong support, but I know I can only rely on myself. I don't want to have any contact with Anthony's associates anymore. When I was attending university in Beijing, I never wrote a letter or made a call to Mr. He or Mrs. Lee. However, Mr. He and Mrs. Lee did write to me. I neither read their letters nor replied. For years passed quickly. I immersed myself in a sea of knowledge, learning theories I had never encountered in my previous life. After graduation, I applied to work in the most challenging places to serve my country. Time really flies. In the blink of an eye, 10 years have passed. There is always a reward for effort. I returned with honor and hope. After the awards ceremony, I met Mr. He. After 10 years, Mr. He has aged a lot. He has already retired. This time he came to the awards ceremony as a senior official. He held my hand excitedly. Luna, I never expected you to achieve so much. Uncle is happy for you. I was also very happy to see Mr. He and asked about Mrs. Lee's health. Mr. He sighed. She is paralyzed. How could this happen? It's a long story. Mr. He began to tell me about Mrs. Lee. Naturally, he mentioned Anthony. It's all that bastard Anthony's fault. He initially helped that woman with the last name Bai, but ended up bringing back a disaster. From Mr. He's narration, I learned some things I had never paid attention to before. I always thought that Anthony and Autumn would soar to great heights together like in their past life. I never expected it to be otherwise. Anthony and Autumn got married as they wished, dragging along the paralyzed April. April has a strange temper and often throws tantrums and breaks things at home. Mrs. Lee and Mr. He are both very unhappy about this marriage, but there is nothing they can do. After all, Autumn has a hold over Anthony and often threatens him with it. Anthony lost his spirit and made a huge mistake at work. He received a reprimand in the army. He was demoted after being on the verge of promotion to colonel, with the reprimand hanging over him and promotion looking hopeless. Anthony had no choice but to retire. After retiring, his career was constantly restricted, and he was in a bad mood, arguing with Autumn frequently. Mrs. Lee was already dissatisfied with Autumn and, upon hearing that Autumn and Anthony were at odds, planned to talk to them. Little did she know, she overheard April and Autumn arguing, with April accusing Autumn of pushing her down the stairs, leaving her paralyzed for life. Mrs. Lee was furious upon learning the truth and planned to report it to the police, but was discovered by Autumn. Autumn was frantically intent on putting Mrs. Lee to death. She pushed Mrs. Lee down the stairs, causing serious injuries, and Autumn thought Mrs. Lee was dead, but little did she know that Mrs. Lee was still hanging on, and eventually Autumn's actions were exposed. The police arrested Autumn, who was sentenced to 10 years in prison, and Anthony became even more despondent from then on, living every day in pain and self-blame. After listening to Mr. He's account, I felt a deep sympathy for Mrs. Lee. In her past life, Mrs. Lee lived a life of comfort and happiness, never expecting to end up like this in this life. As for Anthony, I have never felt the slightest sympathy for him. Everything is his own doing. They say that evil begets evil and good begets good. Since Anthony can no longer soar to great heights in this life, and Autumn can no longer live in peace. It shows that it is better to be kind in life. After all, when you do bad things, there will always come a time for punishment, so it's better for people to be a little kinder.